Skateboarding and video games have a mutual history dating back all the way to the early home consoles and arcade. From half-pipes, to downhill races, from blunt slides, to 900s, to everything in between, and beyond. In this video series, I aim to review new skate games, talk about old ones in retrospect, and really get into the finer points of why many have been big hits and why many more have been remarkable duds. Skateboarding has a vast and confusing vocabulary, and it's very easy to get lost in the backside 360s and a half-cab heels for the uninitiated, so I'll try to keep it simple, but if anyone has any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll address them to the best of my ability. Let's get to it. Skateboard is the most recent title from Glass Bottom Games and their first foray into the skate game genre. In my head, they ran with the idea after seeing this photo that's been making rounds on the internet for years now. The description of the game goes as follows: grind on bendy straws, kickflip over staplers, and carve killer lines through skateboard and sticky tape parks. Above all else, skateboards try their best. And that sounds pretty goddamn fun, right? I honestly wish it was true. Or maybe it is. Maybe skateboards do try their best. This game, however, doesn't. You quickly realize it's a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater clone that can't even put Grind Session to shame. Not that Grind Session is bad, it's just that it came out 21 years ago. Grind Session can go buy a goddamn beer now, and it's still a better game somehow. The charm and aesthetic of Skateboard do a lot of heavy lifting in terms of endearing the player to the game. Without it, there's basically nothing. You can use so many fucking species of birds, it's like a Build-A-Bird workshop up in here, and customization is fairly abundant. I haven't even heard of some of these species, it's pretty wild. They really lean into the shtick, which I can respect. If you're gonna skateboard, then skate all the birds. Skateboard or die. Skateboard and destroy. The game has a pretty incredible soundtrack. The OST, created by Nathan Madsen, has a funky and old school inspired sound with some serious chill vibes. Several tracks feature what sound like voiceover clips from avian nature documentaries, and it's kinda weird but pretty cool and jives with the tunes, and given the subject matter, it fits all too well. The Heron is my favorite, you should totally check it out. There's a lot of funk, hip-hop, and jazz inspiration and really sets the tone for the whole experience, which by the pace of the game really shouldn't surprise me. It's really chill. Maybe too chill. You can honestly tell a lot of love went into the game. It's very optimistic, and the NPC birds are fun, quirky, and chock full of personality, especially with the lack of voiceover dialogue. The story is very cute, if not a bit overblown. You start the game as your customized bird in an apartment that comes packed with a bird-sized skatopia. Your big friend, aka your human, seems to be going through a little rough patch, and aren't we all these days? So the place is kind of a mess, and the gang really wants to seem to do their part to help cheer them up. I haven't reached the end yet, but I kinda hope we don't ever see the human. I doubt we will. This is a skateboard's world after all, but I would love it if they kept the mystery on some Muppet Babies or Inspector Gadget type shit. Big Friend really seems to lean into the birds that skate thing too, because the bird skate park is very elaborate. Made from everyday objects and trash like pencils, Thrasher magazines, and pizza boxes in improvised formats. The park is a pretty solid first level, but it can prove difficult to navigate while you're learning to fight with the controls. Conceptually, the game is pretty great, and there's even some fun to be had, but there are some pretty glaring flaws. The one thing that really doesn't match up, and frankly, it's a very big one, is gameplay. But the gameplay is so bulky and awkward that it makes for an unenjoyable experience. It also does this thing from time to time where the bird will execute your selected flip trick with its whole body instead of the board. It's funny for a little variety, but I don't think it's at all intentional. I think it's just the model interacting with the environment weirdly. The controls have all the grace of a Mack truck packed with fine china trying to drift race down a Japanese mountain road. One shiny and unique spot about the gameplay is that your bird can double ollie. I mean, it's a bird, they've got wings and blah blah blah. It's cool, fitting, and very on brand that a bird could double ollie with the flap of their wings, but why not go further? Fly all the way to the top of the map or leverage that flight to gain speed, something. Hell, make it dependent on the fancy meter to make the player work for it. And the fancy meter is very important too. Seemingly the only way to gain any meaningful speed is to fill it, but it takes way too long and it's extremely punitive. I think if your most recent trick is too similar to the one you just did, you actually lose a bit of fancy meter. I really haven't been able to figure that part out. It gets so bad that you can't even hit the top of some transition without being full meter, and if you try any tricks on them, you'll just bump your bulbous bird body, bail and bombastically say bye-bye to the beloved fancy you've brought in. Oh, great, now I'm alliterating. Look what you made me do, game. It's a unique exercise in frustration. Other than the aforementioned speed boost, the meter really offers no meaningful special perks. No special tricks, no extra flat boosts, no nothing. And really the speed boost they do give you just gives you a front row seat to a new problem. The game is just too slow. Unless you're building fancy, you move at the pace of a snail waiting at a red light. Even the spins are extra slow. It makes it tedious to integrate them into your bag of tricks because the margin for error is exceedingly high. So that means no frontside flips, no big spin heels, no nothing. It's blown. Time to pack it up, we're fucking done here. I'm being dramatic for effect here, but really it's a problem. Much like other skateboarding games, you progress by completing map-based challenges. In many ways it follows the roadmap of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 in function. Ride around untimed, look for challenges, do the challenges, profit? The problem here is there are way too many mission goals per level. With few mistakes made and a small adjustment period to get used to the controls, I spent about an hour and 10 minutes on the first map and still had 3 challenges to finish, and even worse, I felt no incentive to do so. I never really know what I'm doing. The objective counter meter is at the bottom center of the screen and I can't explain it, but it feels like a poor design choice. Like, it's pretty prominent too, but UI design wise, nothing really draws the eye to that sector of the screen, so my eyes very rarely make my way there. Maybe it's just an issue I personally have. It also gets a little too repetitive. 2 of the challenges in the bedroom map alone were to collect letters. You had to collect MONEY for a particularly finance-driven bird bro, and then you've got to go collect, you guessed it, SKATE. Just playing the hits here, but the record is melting on the turntable. There was no variation there. No collect skate, then collect them in the combo. It was just 2 separate challenges doing the same thing. 2 on 1 map is excessive, and after playing the rooftop level, I gotta think they pop up on each of the game's 5 levels. Quick aside, I guess I can't be too mad about that because they gave us sweet, punny birds like Anthony Hawk, you know, the Birdman's government name, and Sam King. Get it? Sam Kingfisher? The goggles are a dead giveaway. God damn it, why couldn't this game be better? I also kind of wish they leaned into the bird puns a bit more. It could have been a real hoot. The game has no photo mode, which is a real crime. There are so many opportunities to get some awesome photos with a variety of custom birds, and it's such a staple of modern gaming I kind of take for granted that most 3D games will have it. Photo mode could even elevate this one a bit. Ultimately, I think the flaws of Skateboard come down to a phenomena I've been subconsciously noticing about skateboarding games since I've been playing a lot of them lately, and I guess over the years, honestly. There's a certain cadence to skateboarding. A rhythm that's built into the very act itself. Cruising along, pushing off the ground, the satisfying crack of an ollie when the wood kisses the concrete, and the flow of the impact of wheels touching back on the ground. The sound of urethane skidding in a power slide. It makes for an experience like no other. The best skateboarding games seem to inherently understand this, whether they take a more methodical approach like Thrasher or Session, or whether they be wild and off the wall like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Ollie Ollie. Skateboard just fails to find its rhythmic footing. It wouldn't be the first game to do so either. I mean, there are a lot of bad skateboarding games out there. I feel particularly bad saying that about this one because there's a ton of good here. The problem is that all that stuff is purely surface level success. None of it really matters when looking at the game from a broader view. Like I said earlier, gameplay is a huge factor, and the fact that it's bad drags the rest of the game down with it. I'm glad it exists though. It's hardworking, optimistic, and charming. It has this can-do, will-do attitude bursting at its seams. However, it doesn't create a dynamic and complete game that I really want to play again. I was fully prepared to buy the game day one too. Let's just say I'm very happy the game was on Game Pass. Skatebird is one of the biggest duds I've ever been most excited for, and I think after this I need a palate cleanser. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I'm not sure what I'm doing next. I keep making these statements, then end up putting my foot in my mouth because I keep shuffling my own decks. Remember, if you like what you saw, please don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button. It does a big help. I'm super close to my goal of 100 subs, and I'll really feel a lot better when I can finally have my channel name front and center. At any rate, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.